Go ahead. I'm Johanna Tobel. Thrilled to be here tonight. This program really came into my life at the exact right moment. I'm in my fourth semester now and planning to graduate in May. So for the past 25 years or so, I've practiced as a lawyer doing juvenile dependency appeals. I represent indigent parents who've had their children removed by the Department of Social Services because of drug abuse, domestic violence, or physical abuse. And that work has a strong spiritual component. I counsel clients struggling with deep regret and tremendous loss, but I'd always yearned for something more direct, something that brought me more fully into people's heart space. And around 2020, my best childhood friend's husband was diagnosed with a very aggressive cancer. And walking alongside her through his illness and then death taught me a lot about what it means to accompany someone through grief. And around the same time, my own children were leaving for college. My father passed away after living for a long time with Alzheimer's, and then October 7th happened. And all of that kind of focused me very sharply on how I wanted to spend my next chapter. And I happened to be talking with a rabbi emeritus at my Reform synagogue in Santa Monica, and he told me about his experience doing clinical pastoral education at a local hospital, and something in me clicked, and I began exploring chaplaincy seriously. So I'm so grateful I found this program, which I think has really prepared me in the best possible way for the path I'm on. And I've learned from the brilliant chaplains, rabbis, professors, and from peers who are on their own remarkable journeys and who come to every class with such open hearts and minds every week. And what I've learned at JTS really has complemented and grounded what I'm doing in the hospital. And I'm now in my third unit of CP there. A few examples that came to mind about the program. One is a midterm we did in spiritual care cost difference taught by Rabbi Kalish. And we explored a hypothetical encounter with a Jehovah's Witness parent whose child had just received a blood transfusion. And the mother felt relieved that her son had received life-saving care, but was also terrified he might be punished by God. And in the verbatim we did for class, I explored these conflicting emotions with her. I wrote out a prayer I would offer her and reflected on where our values differed and were aligned. And that class, along with Foundations of Spiritual Care, really helped me clarify my own theology and become more fluent in bridge building and dialogue with evangelical peers in CPE and with patients in the hospital whose beliefs differ significantly from my own. Last semester I took a spiritual care and mental health class with Patrick and Rabbi Jury, and my final paper analyzed a real hospital experience I had when a patient died suddenly during a routine colonoscopy. And I sat with the family for 4 hours and eventually conducted a bedside memorial. And in the paper I did for the class, I drew on research about the role of silence in spiritual care during traumatic grief and connected it with the book of Job and how Job's friends didn't distance themselves from Job or explain away his suffering, but sat with him for 7 days and 7 nights. And that integration of text and theory and experience feels very emblematic of what JTS does so incredibly well. And just last week in my capstone class, I read a research article about best practices for caring for intubated patients in the ICU. And the study examined the use of cue cards, allowing patients to indicate their emotions, their level of spiritual distress, and what interventions, if any, chaplains might provide. And since I've just been assigned the ICU at the hospital, I'm excited to print out and use those cue cards in coming weeks and see what comes of it. Also, in the last year, I've started facilitating grief and caregiving groups at my synagogue, and my work at JTS has supported that experience. I'm currently writing my capstone project about the ethical issues that arise from those grief and caregiving groups. So, what's truly amazed me about the program is that even though I've taken all my classes on Zoom here in sunny California, I do feel deeply seen and known by my professors and cohort. I've spent meaningful time in office hours, one-on-one discussions during class. I really think that the chaplains and professors leading them have developed really innovative ways of, as Rabbi Kalish was saying, just truly, connecting with people over Zoom. And there's also a great deal of grace among the cohort and faculty, as I've seen. We all are coming to this with full lives, and so it's just been a very generous, loving space that I've appreciated. So Finishing the program in May and completing my fourth unit of CP in August. And after that, I hope to become board certified and serve as an interfaith chaplain in a hospital and bring together what I've learned here in this program and in CP to serve patients.